Today's guest is a dear friend of mine. We met about 10 years ago while I was working at a tattoo shop in Stockholm, and he moved in next door and opened up a barber shop. We started hanging out and realized we got a lot in common. We're both 80s kids. We love the whole pop culture stuff of that era, so music, movies, video games, toys, you name it. 80s is the way to go. Well, either way, that was the start of a beautiful friendship, and as you might have suspected by now, today's guest is a barber. He's the owner of Grease Peace. He is well respected and he's very skilled. So would you please welcome Justin Andersson.
No, but I know the struggle of moving and starting all over again. I mean, I started out in Copenhagen and built up a whole clientele and a functioning business,
Mm,
and then I just started from scratch. And I mean, from scratch, I just moved from one big city to another and
mm,
another country as well. And then you started out absolutely clean slate, gotta
yeah,
start all over. But
yeah,
then suddenly, when you gotta start over that late, then you're fighting against um, the new up and comers and the whole
right,
new structure of how it's working with
right,
social media and everything. So it
right.
was a big change.
And if you don't know how to work with that tool, and they do, in some ways you could be outbeaten just because how they see this generation being all about following and followers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We don't see it like that. We just see it as a company that, you just beat the shit out of yourself day in and day out. You don't get paid by the hour. You're not protected by the union. So you just drive with your clients. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
if you give, it all to your clients, and your clients know that and they recognize it, they're gonna run with that. But then again, we're outnumbered by, social media tools when we never had that in our generation. So we're always gonna be the ones that are gonna be maybe more opinionated about the tools than just to get out of bed and grind and go home and then just keep doing that every day. You know what I mean? When they're trying to find ways to do it more easier and self-sufficient without, breaking their back and hurting their feet. So, but
I'm
I but I always think the quality of what you stand behind is what people are looking for. And if you give bad quality, then it breaks completely, you know.
Yeah, but I'm not even sure about that because you I can look at social media and I can see all kinds of artists, and it can be tattooers or painters, whatever, all sorts of
Mm,
artists, even musicians, and they will share something, and you're sitting there and you're going like, this is terrible, like this is really, it's poorly done, like it's
mm,
everything about it is just terrible, but for some reason they get like a million likes,
mm,
and they manage to build up a platform that works.
mm,
So so I'm just wondering, it's what is it that I'm not understanding?
mm, mm,
And I'm 43, and
mm.
I was there when the whole internet started booming.
Right.
But had I been 10 years younger, I would have been more inclined to learn how to harness the power of the internet.
Mm,
But for me, it was sort of when the internet came, it's just this new fascinating thing, and you started like using search engines, looking up naked chicks, and going into chat rooms. That was what it
mm,
was about.
mm,
And then somewhere along the way, it was like, well, now I got to start getting a real job and going into that part of life.
mm, mm.
So, and that part of life did not include the internet.
No.
But had I been a bit younger, then I would have understood that, well, the internet can actually be used for something that can generate a living. Does that make
Right.
sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. I think there was just two people that saw, there's two types of people that saw the tool something that they can use to their advantage, and then others like myself, I just ran away from it completely. I didn't know what the big hype was. I actually thought it was just going to be a thing that was just going to like be cool for a minute and then just crash and burn and not think about it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I didn't do that much research about it, about how it would benefit me in a different way in my life, you know? So
Yeah.
I just did what was easy for me, and that was like just hard work, just hands on, not thinking too much, but just physical work. You know what I mean?
Mm. Absolutely.
So, but my little brother, he ran straight for it and he used it to his advantage. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what are you
Mm.
searching? It's like, oh, it can be anything. It can be like how many people live on the planet, or what country is in poverty more than others. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, yeah, but how can you use that to make money, to make income? I didn't understand. You know what I mean?
No.
So no, I turned away from it. And to this very day, I think we're the only people we are the OGs that saw it like just build. So we think like, oh, we're the ones that's supposed to make money off of it. No, I didn't give a shit about it. Yeah, man. But the guys that were in like the ones that were born like in 2000, like kids that are like when we were 20 years old, they were just born, like those are the people that are using this like high mainstream. Like they're making shit tons, dude. Shit
But
tons.
I remember I was working at a guitar shop in Copenhagen, and the
Yeah.
boss at one point he took me aside and he goes, because for me working at that guitar shop was like the dream. And
Yeah.
he takes me aside and he goes, "Hey, listen, man, you know, computers, like the internet, that's the future. That's what you should, put your money on." And at the time I was just like, "What do you mean?" Like
Right.
I couldn't even comprehend how am I supposed to make money off the internet,
As you're playing Stairway to Heaven in the Guitar Center.
and still trying to learn how to play it. And then and then and then now you look at people like, yeah, Mr. Beast or Logan Paul. I remember Logan Paul when he started out. He was just this big kid doing weird shit out in public. He'd cross an intersection and he'd just do the split, and people would stop up and go like, "Oh, what's going on here?" But he was on to something, and look where these guys are now. They understood it. But for me, back then I was just thinking like, I was sitting there watching all these stupid videos on all these various websites that were at the time, but not at one single time did I think this is something that I can make money off of. So, and here we are, 43 years old, podcasting, hoping that at some point this will actually become something. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hope for your sake, I hope it does, because I think it's good for people in these days to have an opinion about anything that they're
Mm,
strongly what they have a strong opinion about. I mean, I think that's I think
absolutely.
that's I think that's the problem today, is like everyone had an opinion back then, but you only told it to the people that were around you. Now
Yeah,
you
like an
can get
echo chamber.
Yeah, exactly. And now you can get your word across, like I mean, across the whole side of the world. You know what I mean? So yeah, who knows, man? I don't know. I don't. I think if I used it at some point, and say if it just went incredibly viral and it just threw you for a loop, or just kind of took the rug from underneath your feet, you know what I mean? Like one of those
Mm,
moments. I think that's when you get it. There's no way to go back to what it used to, because you get this
yeah,
rush.
yeah.
You get this huge rush, and you're like, "Oh, I almost did it." It's like, it's like going to Las Vegas and you win a couple grand. I mean, you didn't win a
Yeah.
million, you win a couple grand. You know what I mean? And you get that itch. You know what I mean? I think it's that itch that I'm afraid to receive. So I don't mind breaking my back and saying, okay, I'm going to be the last human on this planet. You know, like our grandparents' generation when they just sat around the radio. Like
Mm.
we'll be the last people that said like my wife's my first friend on Facebook was my wife. My
Yeah,
first friend. I opened it,
that's
found
crazy.
found her, made a friend with her, and now she's my wife today. And that's kind of a cool love story to say, you know, to the internet kids. You know,
Absolutely.
like my first Facebook was the one I married, that friend. You know what
Mm.
I mean? Other than that, I don't think the tool itself for me works because I'm a freaking idiot, dude. I'm a fucking fool, bro. Like I would just feel bad for the person that fucking would just listen to my like stupidity. You know what I mean?
Come
Like I'm
on,
trying to
man.
make
You're
the
like,
world I want to make the world a smarter place, not like, you know, bed knobs and dumbasses, dude. You know what I mean?
but
Like
it's
I don't
funny,
want to
right?
be. Yeah, I mean, it would be kind of funny though. Like there's people out there that want to listen to like you just being an idiot and then they become more of an idiot. Like I'm down for that. Like everyone uses it to make other people smarter. I'm like, oh nah, dude. I'm just gonna make you stupid as fuck, dude. Yeah, man. It's
But it's
it's
funny what you say with your it's funny what you say with your wife
uh
being your first friend on
uh
Facebook, because I
uh
remember like back in the day, in the early days of the internet, like if you had
mm,
met somebody online, it was
mm.
sort of it was a bit like, what, like, aren't you able to connect with anyone in real life? But
Yeah,
now, but
yeah.
but nowadays it's reversed. It's like, oh, I met her in a club, and they go like, oh my God, you you
Uh
you met somebody off the internet, like outside the internet. It's like, wow, that's bizarre.
yeah, but we didn't I think we still kept it like within the city limits when
Mm,
you would use the internet for a dating website. And
yeah,
plus there was only one or two at the time. There wasn't like shit tons. You know what I mean?
no,
So I
no,
think like now that there's more of everything in every category, it becomes
it's
like
true.
desperate. But when you only had one at the time when it came out, you were just interested in how it worked. So you go, oh, I'm not
Mm,
going to go like so far away. I'm just going to keep it within the city limits and see like, you know, who I can find or who I haven't seen yet or who that girl is. I keep seeing her, but I don't know how to get her approach or how to approach her. You know what I mean?
mm.
So it was like a crutch, but in a good way. Now it's just like desperate and low. You know what I mean? Like in another.
Yeah, but the whole thing has changed. I remember like back in 10th grade, it was in the early days of Facebook,
Uh,
and sometimes somebody would get in an argument, and you'd hear the girls going like, yeah, so I deleted her from from my Facebook. And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'd sit there and think like, oh wow, such a display of power, huh? But nowadays it is like, if I were to delete you from my
Uh,
friend list on Facebook, it would be a thing. You'd sit there and you'd
uh,
go like, what the fuck did I do?
uh,
Is that how little I mean to him, you know?
yeah.
Or yeah,
I guess
it's
I guess I guess so. I mean I have people that I probably follow and people that follow me and I've only had a moment of my life with them. You know what I mean?
mm,
Or maybe went to high school with them, but never had the chance to talk to them because there was too much you know, proudness or competition or, you know, tough guys and the not so tough guys, you know what I mean?
mm, mm,
So now I'll be following them or they'll be following me and we won't say nothing. We won't even say a hi or a text or something. I don't know why you would just follow. Maybe it's just like the thought of maybe it could change and not like the whole high school ways. It would be more of the adult today. You know what I mean? Like
it's
get
true.
over it. Like get
It's
over it.
true.
You know what I mean? But yeah,
Yeah.
if you would disfriend somebody when you already had their friendship And say if it was like you and I, like there was no beef at all, and it just slipped out of friendship like that. Yeah, I would
Mm,
probably consider like what happened. Did I do
yeah.
something? Did I say something? You know, or
Mm,
did he just get a new account and just fall off the planet? Like,
yeah.
you know.
Which I actually did like 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I just created a whole new Facebook account, deleted the old one. Um,
Oh, that's common, dude. That's common for sure.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was. I just felt like there was too much work in cleaning up the old one. There was so much stuff, old pictures and whatever. So it's just easier to start from scratch and yeah, and here we are. But in that process, I definitely um lost some friends. There were some friends that I think, and again, it's not like close friends, but it's just acquaintances or people you've shared a moment with through life.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
when some of those people suddenly received a new friend request from me, they
Mhm.
probably thought, "Oh, damn, did this did he delete me as a friend at some point? I didn't even know. I'm not going
Mhm.
to accept him again," or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If it was like that, I just see it like he deleted his old one and he got a new one, but he still wants to keep contact with me. So yeah, yeah. If this is his new one, which it is, yeah, then I'll follow it again. No biggie.
Yeah, but
You
I
know what I mean?
just don't think these people understood that I had actually created a new account.
Oh, I got you. Yeah,
Yeah, so
probably.
yeah.
So they take it all negative.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's, I guess
Right.
that's one of the problems with the internet is like a lot of the stuff that's going on is based off your perception of things. You don't know
Yeah.
the full story or the full scope of what's going on, and then suddenly you've built up this whole storyline that might be completely wrong.
I think the worst thing on the internet is hard. It's hard to be sarcastic when
Mm,
someone thinks that you are like too realistic or you were too
yeah,
serious or too
yeah,
honest. So I think
exactly.
like that's the one thing that I think this tool is hard to express is sarcastically. Like like when you're texting somebody and they take it
Mm,
out of text. You know what I mean?
mm,
And it's like,
mm,
dude, I'm just fucking joking. Like, chill out. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like,
But that's also because if you and I were to text each other, you could write whatever you wanted to, like sarcastically, and I would pick up on it right away because I know you. So I know when you are being sarcastic.
yeah, yeah,
But if I didn't know you at all and I saw you write something online,
yeah.
yeah, I could easily see how I could perceive that as just being somebody
Mhm.
being, a dick or a smartass or whatever.
Mhm. Mhm. But I think I, the the way how people are today, I think everyone's just very sensitive right now.
Mm,
So
mm,
they can mislead just
absolutely.
about anything, even
Uh,
when it comes to like close friends as well. Because some people, you know, they just don't like they take it out of content. Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, I mean nowadays I've had like disagreements or I wouldn't say arguments, but with friends where they wrote something and I replied, and then because I didn't put let's say a smiley in the end,
Mhm.
they picked up on it the wrong way.
Mhm.
And it suddenly turned into a thing where I was like, but that was never, you know, I don't know, I just didn't think whatever in that split second, my brain was somewhere else. I didn't put a smiley or
No,
maybe I did put a smiley and then the person thought I was being condescending or something.
just give them an
I was like,
eggplant with a little squirt and
yeah.
fuck having a day.
Well, listen, so okay, so just because now we're like almost 20 minutes into it, and I'm sure people watching this have absolutely no clue who you are. So maybe
Uh,
just like a brief introduction, like because you are a man with a certain skill set.
yeah, all right. I didn't know what to do in my life when I got out of school. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Especially out of high school. Everyone has this like thought on what to do. You know what I mean? And mine was
Well,
like military or try for college. And I didn't do my SATs, and I didn't take a foreign language like you're supposed to if you want to get to a
mm,
university. So
yeah.
I did a private college. And one day I was driving with my mom, and we came across this college, and it was called Paul Mitchell, the school. You know what I mean? And I didn't know what that was. And we went in, and it was a hair academy. It was like a hair school for hairdressers, and barbers were not a thing at the time. It was just hairdressers, you know? So we walked in, and there probably had to be over, 200 and 350 people. You know what I mean? And I would say 90% were women. You know what I mean? And probably 5% were gays, queers, or anyone from the LGBTQ. You know what I mean? And then the rest were just straights, you know? So my first impression, to be honest, was just to bang, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in heaven, dude. Everyone's wearing
Woo.
black, and I'm straight, and then I have no competition. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. And then the guys that were straight, like, they were super cool as fuck, dude. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So nobody cock block anybody. It would be like 90% ratio of just scoring. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, but then when you got your head on straight, and if you once I finally realized, like, something called to me, like something hit me in the head. You know what I mean? And it was far better than scoring. It was like a new creativity, like art that I can like make money out of, and I was like I was strapped in. And then I just focused so much, and I just loved it every step of the way. So when I graduated after, it's a 2-year university. You have to graduate with 1,800 hours. And that's a 2-year college for hairdressing in the States at Paul Mitchell. And yeah, it was a wonderful experience, and I would highly recommend anybody that wanted to do hair. That's a great place to start. Yeah, man. As To learn the basics and everything, the love, the art form, the education, the leaders that were teaching us, like the teachers, they came from places like Vidal Sassoon, Tony and Guy, Goldwell, Paul Mitchell people, and then people that worked in the state of California that were just like high, dude. Like they were so high in the archy of like hairdressing. So one was like Robert Cromings. He's in like downtown San Diego. His salon is a two story salon in downtown San Diego, in one of the biggest, what do you say, like commercial buildings next to the ocean, and it's like one of those skyscrapers next to like the Comic Con, when they have Comic
Yeah.
Con in San Diego. So, just being out of Orange County, California, and then moving to like LA, and then doing half of it in LA and then half of it in San Diego, it was really fun. It was super fun. And then became a teacher at nighttime, helping other students become better hairdressers after I graduated. So I didn't even leave the college. I just stayed after I graduated, and they
Nice.
so I worked there for a bit, like a little bit over a year, as a staff of education and teaching. So that's how much I fell in love with it. And then shortly after, I moved to Sweden. You know what I mean? And so I left United States in 2007. I became a hairdresser I went to school in 2000, graduated 2002, and then came to Sweden in 2007. You
All
know,
right. Yeah.
so I didn't have that much of a time in California cutting hair. Most of my time has been here in Sweden. Most of it. I've been doing it now for 25 years nonstop. When I moved here, I only had 2 weeks off break, and I've been working ever since. Hence why my Swedish is horrible, because I thought it would just come along. It's garbage, dude.
I know. Yeah.
Garbage.
I know that. I went to the local supermarket some years ago, and I thought, all right, this is it. I'm gonna try my finest Swedish. I can't remember.
Mm.
I asked the cashier for something, and I kid you not, I asked her in Swedish. She replied in German. And that was it
That's-
for me. That was it for me.
Yes.
No more Swedish.
Every time I try Swedish, there's always some Swedish person, whatever, and they can't wait to use their English skills on me, and
Mm,
they're really good too. So I can't doubt the Swedes for wanting to speak English when they would meet an idiot like me. You know what I mean? That has very bad dyslexic, Swedish. So, but you know, more power to me in a way because it's kind of how it made me successful
mm,
cutting hair because I didn't blend in like everybody speaking Swedish. I blended out to a disadvantage to an advantage. It's a
yeah,
disadvantage to my personal self not learning a second language, but it was an advantage to my my art form, like cutting hair and meeting new clients and people and salesmen and friends and everybody that I've been working so hard to get. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I can't take full responsibility for my artwork in my hands and the ability to cut hair. I think some of it had to do with a little bit of this. It's exotic to be an American at the time when I moved here. So saying like, "Oh, I'm from Orange County, California, and been partying in LA, and did my education in San Diego, and then moved to fucking Stockholm in Sweden." I
Mm.
think there was a little bit of an exotic there for most of the Swedish people that I got involved with.
When I first met you, you just opened Grease and Peace in Stockholm,
That's right, I did. That's right.
which was a barber shop for anybody interested. And I would love just hanging out. So if I had no
Mm.
clients, sometimes I'd just drop by and I'd hang out. And you had the whole setup was drop-ins, so you didn't take any bookings. And I would
No.
just kind of, yeah, and I would just sit there and kind of observe you because
Mm.
the way I saw it was almost like how they would show in American movies, like the like barbershop movies. You were so good at adapting to each and every client. So suddenly you'd have one client that was, like working in banking, and you'd kind of have this whole and I'm not like you were putting on like fake personas or anything like that, but you were just so good at adapting to that one special client. So you did, conversate about topics that he could relate to, and then bam,
Mm.
next client was in the chair, and it was somebody who was working with video games, and then suddenly you were like
Mm.
so good at adjusting to that topic as well. And I thought it was super fascinating and really cool because it
I
felt like
appreciate
what I
that.
was watching in the movies.
I appreciate that, Thomas. I do. Yeah, it's. I think it's one of those things in my business. If you cut hair, you probably do 10 a day. If you do
Mm,
color, you probably do color and cut. You probably do maybe 3 or 4 a day. You know what I mean? Like a tattoo artist, like maybe 3 or 4, maybe just two. It depends on the customer that you're coloring or cutting, depending on how successful and how much money they have. You know what I mean? But in my line, when you're working with the public and you're, you're just digging, like just digging through the city, just getting customers, just grinding, grinding, grinding. You have to adapt to each customer and to each conversation.
I
So
know
it's
that,
like
yeah.
being educated from where I got my education from. It helped me learn that, and I think that's where a lot of people struggle on because in Sweden, which what I found out, I don't know if it's true or not, but I think it's like that. You don't have to go to school to cut hair. You have to go to school to cut and color because you're working with hydrogen peroxide and like chemicals that can be like really powerful. So I think that's when you have to go to school, but you don't have to go to school to learn just to cut. You know what I mean? So I think
Mm,
that's why we have a lot of in your world, you would call them scratchers. In my world, we call them cutters. You know what I mean, you're just a cutter.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you found a curve in the business without going to a university.
Mm.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Or someone didn't let you in as like a prospect in the business. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So if you just, oh, I can learn how to do it because I can watch YouTube. You're sadly mistaken. You're sadly mistaken. You know what I mean? Because it's the look, the walk, the talk. You got to stand all day. You got to learn, like how you said, like flip clients to every client. That's 10 conversations, 10 different types, and they might affect you. Like someone will like you so much and they'll just tell you a really dark secret. And
Mm.
then the next guy will walk in and he'll be like, my son's really sick. Or
Mm.
the next guy walks in and he's like, I'm getting married. Yeah, let's go. You know what I mean? And it's like, it can be a really emotional like
Oh
day.
yeah. I know
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So you just adjust to when you work, you adjust to it. And then when you're off work, you don't talk about work. You don't talk about nothing. You just
No.
have to like, and your friends, they have to acknowledge that, you know,
Mm. Mm.
because I think anybody could after a while. Like, that's why it's like when I would go out with people, I wouldn't be like, oh, let's talk about tats or talk about food or talk about haircutting or, you know what I mean? It would be more like totally irrelevant from what we do. It'd be like, oh, what kind of games, what kind of movies do you like? You and I used to go see films and movies. We never talked
Yeah.
about business.
No.
We were in the moment, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's where it draws the line of education inspired and helped me process 25 years of hard work. You know what I mean? And for people that don't ever choose education, they choose the easy way out. Um, it's easy for me to run them over completely.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And do it humbly and kindly without being like, you know, a pretty sick individual person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't think you get a reward out of that. Even
No.
if you could and you knew that doesn't show, you know, good sportsmanship. You know, you can
Mm.
do it in a humble way. You know what I mean? But most of them, I wait. I have my door open. I wait for them to see if they would like to work with me, to get educated and to learn something. But I think there's pride, and in my world, there's color and there's race.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of, I think some people can disagree, and I think others can agree because it's not racist against us differently, it's culture. Like, it would be hard to be a black guy as a client to come to a white barber because I don't know what it feels like to like put a hot iron to his hair to make it like more straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's a
Yeah.
culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why like you see like this stereotype of like black customers going to black barbershops or black salons. I wouldn't call it a stereotype. I would just, and not racist. I would just, it's just a culture thing. You know what I mean?
Well, it makes sense. It makes sense. It's a whole other type of texture. The hair, like if you got like Afro hair, it's a completely different thing to work with, and if it makes sense that if you're black, then you're that's natural for you, you know.
Right.
Not to say not to say like that as a black or white person you wouldn't be able to work on either of those hair types.
True. Absolutely not. But it just it's now like that than ever before. I can
Mm.
imagine it was like that before and then it was like that now, but when I went to school, it wasn't like that. Like everyone got to touch and feel and play with everyone's hair. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So you felt like there was no culture difference. But when you
Mm.
went out into the real world, it really showed you what the real world is like. In
Mm.
school, it's just an opportunity to touch different types of clients in color and race.
Mm.
But once you're out there in the world will show you what it's like. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
absolutely.
So that's the wake up call. That I don't think school um, completely teaches you.
Mm,
They're not going to say like, oh, and by the way, when you get out there in the world, it's a culture and a race thing. You're like, what? You know what I mean? I just worked on that black guy's hair, like, or the Mexican guy's hair. You're telling me so when I get out of school, I'm not going to have a black client or a
mm,
Mexican client? Is that what you're saying? They're like, well, in a way, yes and no. Depends on the person. Depends on you. You know what I mean?
mm,
So for me to get other colored clients, I try to perfect my art form of cutting so they would trust me because
mm.
I was a different colored guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of like drived me in a way to like, oh, I want to learn how to cut Asian hair. I want to learn how to cut curly hair and black guy's hair, and because it does have a feel difference. You know
Mm.
what I mean?
Yeah,
So I thought it
absolutely.
was more fun. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
if you were tatting, a darker skinned client, you might have to perform differently. That's probably not a
Absolutely.
culture. It's not a culture thing. It's just, it's your company. It's your business. You know how to do
Mm.
it. You know what I mean? So it
Absolutely.
might be. So I don't know if it's a different thing with the tattooing in the skin culture, but in mine, the hair culture is different than the skin culture,
Mm.
and
No,
that
I mean,
is what's
there's
there.
not a necessarily like a cultural thing in it when it comes to tattooing, but there definitely
Uh,
is a difference of
mm,
skin type. Like
mm,
uh, a lot of dark skinned people tend to generate scar tissue easier than
mm,
really white skin. So
mm,
you gotta be careful that you don't overwork the skin because then suddenly you got a
mm,
tattoo with ugly scar tissue. So
mm.
stuff
That's
like that
interesting.
is, yeah.
Mm.
So is there a because then you go through your education as a hairdresser, but I assume there is a difference between being a hairdresser and being a barber,
Right. The
or
thing
what?
is like when you saw when we met and I opened up that barber shop because I was already done doing the salon work. I didn't want to have male or female customers. I just wanted male. I
Mm,
saw I don't know if I saw it or other people saw it, but I saw a new wave coming and the men were looking for a place to go. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Without having the opinion of a female behind them, you know. Or maybe guys just want to talk differently in an environment that's comfortable to them. You know what I mean? Like my place looks like a cigar speakeasy kind of barbershop. You know what I mean? So men find themselves attracted to that with the color, the interior design, and then if you nail that customer with that haircut and in a good conversation, um you have them, you got them. You know what I mean?
mm,
So I just decided to change my art form to from hairdressing to barbering. So I just focused a lot on what the difference was, and it was shaving with a straight razor blade knife, and doing beard trims, and men like yourself, men like myself, that as now, hair has lost us, and we gained it in other places. You know what I mean? There's money to be made. You know what I mean?
mm,
No matter how you see it. You know what I mean? So in Stockholm, I just noticed that there wasn't a lot of men places to go. So I jumped on it immediately. And from when I started, I had a huge impact in Stockholm. And I had a line outside
I remember.
every morning for 7 years. That line wrapped around my building,
I remember.
every morning. I had I because one of those reasons why I did this was to make people aware on who I was. If I would have had a booking system, there only would have been one customer outside
Mm,
and there would never be a line. But by making my shop only walk-ins only, I forced those customers to stand outside, which triggered what I think is like a Stockholm syndrome. If there's a line, there must be something good in this building and why they're waiting. And I knew that about them.
Mm.
I knew that was Sweden's weakness, but my gain in professional business. You know what I mean? It would be
It
like going
worked.
with you. Oh, it worked completely. It was like going with you to a pub, right? On to the left there's a line, to the right there's another pub. They both sell the same beer, but for some reason you're looking to the left where the line is and you go, "What's going on over there?" Regardless, the mission was to get drunk. The mission was to drink beer. They both have the same beer on both sides. To me, you and I would be like, "Why would I want to wait in line? Let's just go to the place that didn't have a line." You know what I mean? But that's just how I was in America. We don't like lines. But when I moved here and I saw Swedish people love lines, then I was like, how can I use this to my advantage? You know what I mean? I saw it myself. I saw it myself. So I
Swedes
just wanted
love
to repeat it.
lines.
Yeah, Swedes love lines. And I used it, and you know, when they got there, I had a guy wait there for 5 hours one time. It was his choice. I
Mm.
didn't I didn't tell him to. I told him this is how it works. You were fifth at the door. There was four people in front of you. You're number five. It takes 35 minutes to cut each person. He waited a pretty long time. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I
I
remember
had
because you made sure that everybody who got in the chair got the same, attention as the previous or the next guy. It wasn't like, oh, I got like six people waiting, so I better speed
uh,
up or rush it or anything. And I remember a
mm,
couple of times I'd walk past and, like on my way to pick up some lunch, and
mm,
the room was full, and
mm.
I'd come back like 5 hours later, and some of those people were still sitting there. I was like,
They're
"Damn,
still sitting.
that yeah."
Yeah,
Because I remember, we used to do these drop-in Fridays and Saturdays,
right,
and we'd also have a long line usually when
right.
when we opened the store. But
You
we
did?
had a list. We had a list, and we'd take names and phone numbers, and then
Yeah.
we'd send people off and say, "Hey, go out, grab some lunch, go shopping, do whatever you need to do, and we'll give you a call when your time is ready." But then, of course, every now and then, if some people had been walking around Stockholm for 3 hours, they might have thought, "Oh man, they're not going to call anytime soon. We're just going to go home or whatever." So by the time we call them up,
Mm,
they've left the line, so to speak. But you
mm,
kept everyone there in the room. And
mm.
didn't you have like a rule that if somebody left, they lost their seat? Like if somebody left and said, "Hey man, I'm gonna go get lunch. I'll be back in 40 minutes."
Yeah,
They
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they
And I
could
was like,
yeah,
if you leave, like you're out, dude.
yeah.
If I gotta starve, you're gonna starve. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, can I go to the bathroom?" I was like, "Yeah, you can go to the bathroom. That's all good. But if you leave the building, like you're out, homie."
Yeah.
So then I've never had so many people try to teach me how to do my job when
Mm,
my job was so successful. You know what I mean? It's
exactly.
like,
It's
do you
funny.
not see? Do you not see what I'm doing? Like, do you see that I'm struggling in any way? You're just
Mm,
trying to make it benefit you. So they were like, "Oh, you should have a booking system so I can book so I don't have to wait." And I was like,
mm,
why would I want to do that? If you don't find the time to wait for my profession, wait what I'm going to deliver to you, it's a different experience than if you would book. It's more like a repetitive thing.
mm.
The way I did it was more of a personal relationship.
Yeah.
So the feeling felt more like connected. And even too,
Mm,
like I would be so tired of just connecting with clients all day long. So I would move the chair towards all the other customers, and then I would let them bounce off each other, create
yeah.
friendship, create conversations, create a room where I was like, great, I don't have to talk anymore. I'll just let them fucking do it and just
Mm.
throw them a hook and they'll fucking take it and they'll just run with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that helped out too, was finding ways for strangers, especially Swedes, are afraid of like confrontation sometimes.
Mm,
So if you create an atmosphere where they're supposed to talk or they're forced to talk to one another, I created a lot of people's friendships in that room
mm,
that would never be friends with each other if they
no.
weren't forced to stay in that room, what I created for them.
Mm,
You know what I mean? So when I would run over to like you guys and then, hey, you guys want any food in the corner? I'm gonna go to Longhorn. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I'd get some onion rings and shit, and then I'd walk in and see you guys, and it was packed. Texas Longhorn was packed. I walked in my place, and it was like, oh my god, I still have like 6 more people to do, and it's 12 o'clock. It's packed.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
mm,
So I think we were all great at what we did on that street that made that street so recognized and so popular. So kudos
absolutely.
to you. Kudos to you and everybody that worked at Porky's. Kudos to like Texas Longhorn for always supplying like customers on that corner. The police
Mm,
officers were there on Radhuset
absolutely. Yeah.
that maintain Stockholm's safety, and I pulled a lot of cops in and lawyers and doctors and like business people and celebs and TV show people and entertainers to artists of all levels. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And
yeah,
it was
man.
so
It
inspiring.
was a fun time.
I love that street and I
Yeah.
love that corner, and I have very good memories that I get to hold on to. So I couldn't thank you and everybody else, and my friendship with you was solid. So that's what I collected out of it. I
Yeah.
lost those customers. I lost those customers because I moved so far away, but I
Mm,
still kept and maintained a friendship, and I
yeah.
that was worth it in the end. You know what I mean?
For me, it's what I always said. What makes a really good friendship, in my opinion, is that kind of friendship where, like you and me, for example, it can easily be like ages between when we talk, but whenever we do talk, we just pick it up right where we left it.
Yeah, it's
There's
not hard.
there's no need to come up with excuses or anything. Oh man, I'm sorry, I haven't
No,
called, but this or that. We
no.
just know, man, it's life. It's just
Yeah, yeah.
life happened. We got kids, whatever, and we
There's
just
no
pick it up
point.
right. Exactly. And
No.
that's how I feel with you. Whenever we get in touch, we just pick it up right where we left it.
I don't think there's point to have to waste energy on being apologetic.
No.
If you don't know, then it means get a life,
Yeah.
and put a lot of shit in it, and then try to find time to be selfish in that. I
Yeah.
mean, if you haven't created that for yourself, then you don't understand that you don't have to be apologetic. That you can just pick up from where you left off. It's that easy.
Exactly.
It's only because we both have so much stuff going on in our own private life. It's more fun to just pick up from where we left off than to pick up on bad, broken shells.
Yeah. It's like
You know what I mean?
so
There's no point.
so so many times, we've talked about, oh man, we should hook up online and play some game on PlayStation or whatever. And we
Mm.
just we just see we never seem to get around to it. For me, at least, it's this thing where in my head I still feel like I'm 17. I'm still gonna pull an all-nighter on the PlayStation. But reality is, usually around 9 o'clock in the evening, I'm just too fried. I don't
Oh,
have
I
it in
know.
me anymore. I
No.
like I remember when man, I think it was this game Black Myth Wukong came out. Beautiful game, super cool, and I got fairly invested in it, and I was playing it in the evenings. And what happened was usually I'd play an hour and a half before bedtime, and then I'd turn it off, and then I'd go to bed, and I would close my eyes, and it was like I could feel the screen just moving behind my eyelids. I couldn't fall asleep. My brain was just so wired up. Where,
Yeah.
when I was like 17, 18, I just, play 8 hours and I'd go to bed and it was lights out.
I get the same way. I'll get these flashes, or I'll have dreams of that game
Yeah,
because I'll just turn it off and
yeah,
then immediately go to sleep, and I'll just be dreaming of something that
yeah,
I just had.
yeah,
So I get you, dude. But I mean, um, when the online online world comes together, it's GT6, and that thing's gonna pop like
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah.
And
That
there's not gonna be any excuses not to,
no,
you know, hang out with people that you haven't seen in a long time, or people that you hang out with daily. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
seriously, that world is going to be so much more fun to jump into than the world that we are currently living in today. Like we're just going to work and fucking run home and be like, "All right, kids, there's your fucking food and eat and put yourself to bed and no story time. I'm playing games, dude. Peace, bro. Yeah, man. I
gotta go
gotta
rob a
go.
bank.
Yeah, I gotta go start a cocaine warehouse or some shit. You know what I mean?
I,
So,
I I remember that when you had your shop and I was working at Porky's. That was around the time when GTA
mhm,
5 came out, and at the same time, I was really into watching Breaking Bad. So me and
right.
one of the guys in the shop were both into this, and we were having these insane conversations. And somebody would just, come in from the street, and they just hear us going like, "Oh man, yesterday, I busted this. My cocaine lab got busted, and we just shot up like 12 cops. And by the way, did you see like the bag of blue meth that he was carrying?" And the
Yeah.
and the client would be like, "What? Okay,
What?
what's going on here?"
What? Yeah. 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 We would do that sometimes with clients that just walked in and see if they were like, if they would catch on or if they
Mm,
didn't
mm,
catch on, you
no.
know.
Man,
But
I
those,
I but as you're saying, it's gonna be so much more fun than the real world. It's literally turning into
yeah.
Ready Player One. Have you seen that
Yeah.
movie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Of
like
course. Of
yeah, the
course. I mean,
future. That's the future, man.
that
Scary.
that is it's uplifting and scary at the same time. It's entertaining and kind of like yeah, let's not forget that there's other things to do as well. You know what I mean? Because we are parents, and we are leaders of the example. So if we show bad leadership, you know, how are we going to say go to bed? I'm playing a game. Just give me 5 more minutes. I mean, that's what we always say.
Mm, mm.
You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be one of those things. Like I don't show my kids sometimes that I'll drink like during and when they're awake. I'll do it with like when they go to bed, then I'll pop a beer and play some games. So I think that's going to be one of those things like you have to show pretty good leadership, because if video games are going to be like the future of like the most coolest things to do, there's got to be a time to go outside and smell the roses. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, man. We still got to teach our kids the magnificence of, I don't know, like
Life.
taking a shit in the woods and watching a sunset. It's like
Yeah.
that's pretty
At the
grand.
same time.
Yeah, you're just sitting there like squeezing one out and you
Right.
know
Yeah. I
taking
mean,
it all
I don't
in.
see anybody. I don't see anybody now that we're in the country. I don't see any kids that have broken arms and broken legs anymore. Like
No,
these little things you don't see like white gray dog shit like that used to
no,
be
that's
like
true.
left over from the night before. You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
There's so many things that you took for granted. Like bicycles that are just thrown out in the street. Like when you had like a cul-de-sac, it would be like a little roundabout.
Mm,
Like the neighborhood would end.
mm,
Kids in the neighborhood would just drop their bikes like right in the street and just pick it up
yeah,
tomorrow. Like no big, like whatever. You
yeah.
know
But
what I mean?
I do want to question. You mentioned white dog shit, and then you say there's so many things we took for granted. Was there
Uh,
like I don't think about
well, I
white
guess
dog shit and go like, man, I took that.
no, I bet no, yeah, okay, yeah. If you see it like that, that was a big jump from white dog shit to like I took that for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, I get you, but no, I'm more thinking on a part of where like when people like I don't talk online to hang out. Like I'll just run
No, no.
over
Yeah.
and knock on your door and bug you. Like, oh, didn't you call? Did you call before you came over? No, I just decided to come by. I was in the neighborhood, so I just, what's up? Let's have a beer.
Mm,
Do you have a cold one? I don't. Do you have a beer? I would like one. Thank you.
mm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna call ahead of time. I don't give a shit. What were you planning on doing anyway?
Mm.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
Trust
Yeah.
me, you're happy that I'm over. You're happy that I'm
Mm.
over. You just weren't ready. That's all. You just weren't ready. And
Yeah,
that's what I like.
but
It's
it's
better that way.
but that's,
It's not a 2 hour. It's not a 2 hour hangout.
I've talked to friends about this as well, where nowadays
Mm,
there's this expectation to instant replies.
mm,
Somebody writes you, texts you, and nowadays it'll show like, oh, the message has been delivered, it's been read, whatever. So people, they can see, oh, you read my message. Now, me, for example, I'm one of these people where I'll often be whatever. I'll be walking the dog and I'll see like a message pop in, and I'll just read it, and I'll make a mental note and say, yeah, I'll reply later.
get back to that. Yeah.
Yeah, but then somebody will sit there and be like, why doesn't he reply? He read my message. Oh, it's been 20 minutes
Um,
now. Like, is
I got
am I not good enough to get an instant reply? How busy can you be? And
you.
I miss those days where you'd call somebody on the landline, and you'd call them, 5 times in the course of a
Mm,
week, and then the sixth
mm,
time the person would pick
mm,
up, and you go, "Hey, man, yeah, man, I called you, 4 or 5 times. I
mm,
guess I missed you." And you're
mm,
like, "Yeah, man, I've been in and out the house," and then you just start talking.
mm.
Nowadays it's
Hey man,
that
I've been
thing.
calling you. I've been calling you 12, 13, 14 times. You still don't answer. Like, all right, I'll
Yeah,
call you. I'll call you back again.
yeah. I've left. I've left.
My 36th time calling you. All right, I'll call you back again.
I left 36 messages on your answering
Yeah,
machine.
exactly.
The
Exactly.
voice says the tape is full.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah, but no, it's
Yeah.
back to the white dog shit. It reminds me, when I was a kid and we'd do road trips, with my parents. We'd get in the car, and you'd
Yeah.
drive for 2 hours, and you'd get out of the car, and the
Yeah.
entire windshield and the front of the car was just like covered in bugs. It was just a massacre all over the car.
Yeah.
And nowadays, you don't see that. Where did all the bugs go, man?
Yeah. Mm. Mm. No, I remember those times. Like it takes me back to what I did take for granted, or what I saw that I don't see anymore. And it's because there's just a lot of less activity outside because
Mm,
everybody's just on, you know, this thing. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So when you finally see a kid that's like 6 year old on a little pink bike, you're like, oh yeah, dude, they're living
yeah,
life. Do it.
yeah,
Yeah, man. Like you feel like they're awesome. Like awesome for
yeah,
them, awesome for you. You know what I mean? But when you have a kid like mine are sitting in the fucking bedroom with a pad, I'm like,
yeah,
go outside. No, there's nothing to do. I'm cold. I have excuses for everything. I don't want to go outside. All right,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Whatever.
exactly. It's like, go
Do your
outside. Yeah,
thing.
can I bring my phone?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
But that's what happens when I watch stuff like Stranger Things. It
Mm.
just kind of like it fills me with that sensation, of being a kid. And as you said, just throwing your bike somewhere, and you'd come back an hour later, or a day later, and it was still there, and you were
Oh, it's
just,
so good.
on an adventure. When I was a kid, man, it was we lived pretty close to a lake, and
Mm.
Saturday, Sunday, I'd be out with the neighbor kids, and we'd go to the lake and crawl around through like the swamp areas, and
Yeah.
there was no phone, there was no nothing, and I'd come
No.
home and my mom would be like, oh, dinner's ready. It nowadays, I mean, I'm an overprotective parent. If my daughter or son is going somewhere, it's like, hey, give me a call when you get there. Give me a call when you're ready to leave. Do you want me to come out and meet you? Blah blah blah. But back then, our parents, you know, they didn't check up on us like that. They just assumed, yeah, they're
No.
taking care of themselves and having fun.
Sometimes they forgot to pick me up. They were so busy drinking and wine and having a good time, they fucking forgot. I'm sitting there
Yeah.
like a little kid, kicking my feet because my feet are not touching the ground. And I'm like, oh, my mommy's gonna come pick me. I can't wait. It's like 2 hours go by, no clock, nothing to tell time. It's like this storm's coming. You're gonna get rained on, and then you hear them coming around like, oh, sorry, honey, I forgot to pick you up. You're like, dude,
With a
whatever,
bus
dude. I'm
on.
drenched. I'm wet. Fucking hungry. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
where were you? Oh, just smelling like booze. You know what I mean?
With a cigarette in the
Fucking
hand,
happens.
listening to
Yeah,
White
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Snake.
yeah. Fuck yeah, dude, for sure. Death Leopard,
Yeah.
any of that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's yeah. There's those moments. I think these kids, take it for take. You know, they don't take the first step because I don't know. Maybe it's us. Maybe it's us. We're not guiding them. Maybe we're fucking the ones that are, the problem. Maybe,
Well, listen,
maybe we're so fucking.
no matter how we twist and turn it, dude, we are the old farts sitting here being all like, when we were kids, the world was a much better place, and yada yada yada. When I was a kid and I was sitting
Well, we
there,
had the cool shit. Well, no, no, no. We had the cool shit, dude. We
that's true.
have the right to act like that. We're gangsters, dude. We are the
Yeah.
OGs. Does this? Oh, 6'7". Fuck you, dude. I had Evil Dead. You know what I mean? Like, I had Faces of Death. Did you
That's
have
true.
Faces of Death? No.
That's true.
Did you watch
That's true.
videos of just watching random people just die
No,
and like
no,
it?
no, that's
Like,
true. We had killer
pops.
clowns
Like,
from outer space.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. We
Like
had
we didn't
RoboCop.
make stupid shit. Yeah, we have yeah, exactly, dude. Like when you saw him got gatted by the gang and he just took every bullet like a champ. That was a rough day at work. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
when
That was
he
a rough
just
day.
busted that drug lab and he was just shooting his way through that whole thing, or when the first time when
Did
he
it,
goes on
did it
the
hurt?
first time when he
Did it
goes on
hurt?
when he goes on a mission, and there's that dude holding the chick and he just shoots the guy right in the nuts.
Yeah,
Oh, that was
yeah, yeah,
badass.
yeah.
RoboCop was the
See, that's
man.
that's what I mean. And we had music, and we had movies. We had cool shows that sent like yeah, there were some like dumb shows that showed um like the lifestyle of everyone being equal. Like, you know,
Full House.
black TV show families. Yeah, like black TV show families like were the same as like white TV show families. Like
A
everyone had
Cosby.
the same problem.
Mm,
Cosby or was like, and Full House was like and like Steve Urkel and like all that type of stuff, like Family Matters and stuff. But when like, I liked Married with Children, Al Bundy, and like Roseanne. They were the only two shows that showed like under middle class. Like they were under
mm,
middle class. Like Roseanne, John Goodman's like he struggled to make his own Harley Davidson own custom motorcycle shop, and they
mm.
trusted him, And Al Bundy was like a shoe salesman. You know what I mean?
He was
Like
bitter.
it's like he was bitter, dude. You know what I mean? And that was I just remember those iconic times.
Mm,
So for kids today, thinking 6, 7, or TikTok and going live, and keeping a friendship that way, not going outside and having fun and not climbing trees and getting broken arms, like you're really missing out on life. Trust me, you are. Like I shouldn't have to tell you. You should just want to do it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
like,
you and I had our times. Like we're both tired.
mm,
You know, we're tired. There's not going to
mm.
be another Pamela Anderson on Baywatch. That shit's over. That's called sexist. You know
Man,
what I mean?
that show, like chicks only got hired by David Hasselhoff if you know if they were hot enough. They were hired
For sure.
solely
For
on
sure.
their looks. It's like, yeah, you're not pretty
For sure.
enough. Out next.
For sure.
You got the looks.
That's why none of that will ever exist again. Like we are a
Mm,
rare. We're rare.
mm,
We're the ones that got the best, and we're the ones that are challenged the hardest right now
mm,
because we have to balance what we used to know and we have to balance what we don't know yet, like on this internet thing. So, and we're going to be the last ones once we're dead. And like your kids and my kids were born like with this screen, so they
mm,
don't know no better. You know what I mean?
mm.
So we're the last. We're the last of our kind. It's kind of cool.
Well,
So
that
we have the
is.
right to say when back in the day we had it better. Like we're
Yeah,
supposed to be that. You know what I mean?
that's true. That's true.
We're supposed to be that way. We
Listen
have
to
the
you,
we
man.
have the advantage.
Listen to you. You started out this whole thing by portraying yourself as like some complete dumbass, but you're like a damn oracle.
I
You're
am.
spitting wisdom, man. It's like
Just take some acid. Just take some acid, and we'll make a new family. You know what I mean?
yeah, well, smoke some DMT and we'll like we'll
Yeah.
we'll we'll travel the multiverse back to the 80s. Fuck
Charles
yeah.
Manson don't got shit on me. You know what I mean?
Where did Charles Manson, dude? Where did he come from?
Well, because he started the family and his cult, and everyone thought he was like the chosen one. This the man to follow.
Now, yeah, okay, so
You
I get
know,
it. So yeah, I get it. You're the man to follow.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
One
It's like,
falls, the next one takes over.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's not Heaven's Gate, it's like Justin's Gate. It's gonna be great, man.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Well, listen, man, I think this is a pretty good
Well,
place to wrap it up. This
all
was a
right,
lot of fun,
nice
man.
man.
It was a lot of fun. We
Thanks for
need to
having
do this again.
thanks for having me on, dude.
Anytime,
Yeah, it
man.
was. It's really it's not only it was a fun. It was good to see you again, buddy.
It's good to see you.
Just to wrap it up, wrapped it up one last time. The last time I was in Stockholm,
Mhm.
my last night out was with you, and we had a movie date night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember that was my last moment in Stockholm. And
Nice.
the funny thing is when we were at the mall, the Mall of Scandinavia at the time before when it was called
Mm,
that and not Strawberry, whatever it is.
mm,
After the movie was over, and we walked down the escalator, and we were like said our goodbyes because we both know it was like the last date, that we
mm.
had. And I remember you walked one way and I walked the other. Like we're in a John Hughes movie, like Breakfast Club or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
as we were walking, I turned around to see if you were looking, and you didn't. You know what I mean? You didn't. And I was like, that bastard, dude. So I waited to see if you would turn around and give me like, that final look.
And I didn't.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
I'm sorry.
I was
I'm
like, that
sorry, man.
cunt, dude. What a dick. No,
I'm
that dick didn't
sorry.
even look.
I'm
I mean, I
sorry.
was gonna have that moment, like, you know what I mean? Like that moment when you see Joe
Yeah,
Black. Like when Joe Black and when Brad like looked and she didn't look, and then when she looked, he wasn't looking, and then
yeah.
when he did, and then when he didn't, and then he gets hit by the car. You know what I mean?
Mm, mm.
Like that was that moment I wanted to have with you, and you didn't fucking play.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
So when I left Stockholm, I was like, what a dick.
What a
What a
dick.
dick.
You've been carrying that with you for a long time, my sense. That was like
I did.
that
I'm glad
that
I got it
hit you
off my
hard.
chest.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm
I
really
still,
sorry.
it's
I
all
didn't
right.
look back
It's all
to
right.
give you that John Hughes moment. But I do miss our movie dates, man. Like
Okay,
nobody
bud.
Nobody
I do
could
too.
make me feel like a woman the way you did.
Thanks, buddy. You
Yeah,
too.
you
You too,
knew how
man.
to treat me like on a, like it was always a good date.
IMAX, IMAX, some olives and a fucking martini, dude.
And
I
a
was
jar
all over that. I love that
and
shit.
some handcuffs and a jar of pickles and
It's a never ending story after that. You know what I mean?
giggity. All right, man. Well,
All right, bro.
let's stay in touch.
Well, let's do it
Let's hook
again.
up.
Then
Yeah. Let's
we could
get
do
some
some
online
sometime in the
gaming.
future. Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll see me on GT6 for sure. For sure.
But when is that? That's like next year or something, isn't it? It's like in 26,
Yeah,
27
in a
or
couple
something.
months.
A couple of
Next year,
months.
26 March, I think, or April. I think that's the release date.
Fingers
All right,
crossed.
dude.
Take care, buddy.
Let's do
Have a
it.
good one.
I'll see
Love
you,
you,
Thomas.
man. Bye
Bye, bye.
bye.
Love you. Bye.